Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today to celebrate the life of Cedric and say goodbye to a wonderful man. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Jason Hurd, the son of the late, great Cedric Hurd, my much-to-loved father. What an honour. As I stand here today, I see friends and relatives that have come great distances to be here for my dad. I'm humbled and quite frankly impressed at how he must have touched your lives. Thank you for coming, and especially those guests that have come from overseas. There is a special bond that a father has with his son. That bond builds strength over time and events that each of us are fortunate enough to share together. I'm privileged, honoured, and extremely lucky to be the son of Cedric. For those of you that knew him, Cedric had a real cheeky sense of humour. And from a very young age, I remember him telling jokes around the dining table to guests. And one particular joke that really sticks in my mind, which I asked him later on, it happened to be his favourite joke. And I'm going to share that with you right now. I did deliberate, should I say this or not, but I'm still going to say it. Little Johnny goes to church, and little Johnny was sitting behind Mrs. Maguire. And Mrs. Maguire was quite a large lady. And when the pastor said, "Please get up to sing," Mrs. Maguire stood up, and little Johnny noticed that Mrs. Maguire's dress was caught the crack of her bum. Little Johnny thought that Mrs. Maguire probably wouldn't like that, so he reached on over and tugged it out. Mrs. Maguire turned around and slapped Johnny across the face. Anyway, a few Sundays later, little Johnny's back at church and just happens to be sitting behind Mrs. Maguire again. And as the pastor said, "Please stand to sing," Mrs. Maguire stood up, and once again, the dress was caught the crack of her bum. But this time, she reached around and pulled it out herself. And little Johnny knew that Mrs. Maguire didn't like that, so he reached on over and tucked it back in again. Old Ceddy, eh? If I don't laugh, I'll cry. And that was a real Cedric joke, and I mean that with the utmost respect. I can only speak for myself. When I think of how he touched my life, the first word that comes to me is admiration. Admiration for how he conducted himself in business,